All right, let's start off with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Now what?
Pledge allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start off with a roll call
I can certainly do that. Mr. Bestwell,
here.
Mr. Lynch is absent. Mr. Byrd,
Here.
Mr. Silk, also absent. Mr. San Francisco,
Here.
Mr. Sherry,
Here.
Yeah, sure, it was just light out here.
your zoning solicitor and your zoning officer are both present.
All right. Let's see, so we can get started with, with our first application here, Z 2023-09 for the Delaware County Veterans Memorial. But I believe this is for an extension. Oh, you're gonna be out of here fast to watch the game.
Thank you. We were here when we received the variance for the Veterans Hall. The order was dated June 15, 2023. And it had conditions of the approval attached, one of which was that it would become null and void if we didn't get a building permit within 6 months. This is a non-residential application. The ordinance actually says, the way I read it, that you should give us between a year and 2 years. 1 year up to 2 years, and it says that unless the order specifies otherwise, we automatically get a year without having to get any extensions, and you could have given us 2 years without having to get any extensions. So I don't know if you recall, we got into it a little bit, but there's a land development application that goes along with this, and we need an NPDES permit, which in and of itself, we probably won't even have that until April of 2024. 4 months after time runs out. You also have to get approval for the decommissioning of the existing sewer system. After we do all that, you got to get the development agreement, including security posting, and then apply for the building permit to get the permit. So because the people will be ready sooner than that, but because the ordinance says we should give us between a year and 2 years, I requested 2 years from the date of the original approval, which was June 15, 2023. If you take us to June 15, 2025.
Mr. Chairman, I received correspondence from council dated July 14th, 2023, in accordance with his position this evening, supporting that, and he did in fact request a 2-year extension on the variance. I asked that be made part of the record as the applicant's exhibit number 1, and I concur with his request, and I think that the ordinance allows for an extension of up to 2 years.
I'll make the motion to approve the extension for 2 years for Z 2023-09.
From 6
So that
6/15 to 6/15/2025.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up is application Z 2023-20, Flamur Latollari, 41 Radnor Drive. The applicant is seeking special exception from section 172-141F to allow for an addition within the required side yard setback. Applicant also requests relief from any other section of the zoning ordinance that may be realized during the zoning hearing process. How do I say your name? Sorry, I don't want to.
Or Latollari is right hand of the architect.
You're representing him here, so, and what's your name?
Right hand.
Brett?
Yes, sir. HAND.
You swear to testimony.
Yes.
And is the file in order?
File is in order. Zach, we put up the exhibits, you'll see that the property was really listed. We also have the proof of publication and the notice that was delivered to every property owner within 200 feet.
All right. And Sam,
Chairman, in accordance with the representations of our zoning officer, I asked that the application of the applicant, accompanying documents and exhibits that have been provided be marked as Township Exhibit number 1. List of residents within 200 feet that have received notice of tonight's meeting be noticed as Township Exhibit number 2. Proofs of publication of tonight's meeting in 2 consecutive weeks in the Delaware County Daily Times would be Township Exhibit number 3. And the pictures that we've observed posting notice on the subject property of tonight's meeting be marked exhibit Township Exhibit number 4.
and do we have anyone who is a party protestant or wishes to make public comment? So are you looking to be party protestants, which would give you the option to appeal any decisions made here, or looking to make public comment? Party protestant? And you received the notification, so you live within 200? Okay, so if you guys mind stepping up a little closer, just so we can get your names and address. There you go. You're out of the
I'm Joseph McGinn, MC capital GINN, 39 Radnor Drive.
My name's Kenneth Dart, and I'm at 43 Radnor Drive. Dart, like the one you throw.
And guys, just so you understand too, so if you are going to be party protestants, you'll have the opportunity to ask any questions to anybody that is a witness. Just be respectful, wait your turn, and we'll let you know when you have the opportunity to ask your questions. Is that okay? I just don't want anything to kind of get out of hand here. So, well, they go first. You guys then have the opportunity to speak after that. So, if you want to take us through your case, your application?
Yes, I was contacted by Mr. Latollari to complete drawings that would work with the addition that he wanted to have proposed at this property. And it's in with, pardon me?
Tom, do you want to swear?
He was swearing, right?
Oh,
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry. I apologize.
I'll do my best. I'll do my best to host it. And to create the drawings that they're seeing here as the exhibits for the on the TV screens and hard copies available. Pursuant to just about every addition in most municipalities, we continued along the lines of the side yard setbacks that were existing, even though that they are overlaid after the construction of the original house, so that they're not going to be compliant. The house is not compliant due to its location, and being grandfathered into the construction, that the addition would fall in the same lines and still not make the condition any worse. We do not exceed the rear setback. We are keeping the same side yard setbacks that are shown. Also comply with impervious calculations and every other township ordinance that we can find.
So, Andy, can you fill me in a bit better here then about what's going on?
Oh, yeah, there's an addition. When there's a setback, you're not supposed to be allowed to build over it, but the existing house was over the side yard setback. And this happens all the time. It happened to my neighbor. And additions the townships will allow that as a special exception to continue the same non-conforming distance. And that's what we're looking for relief from, is the side yard setback being enforced.
Right side or left side, I'm sorry.
Because you're looking at it the right side from the street.
Driveways now.
Yes, sir.
And it's in line with the house now, which was already non-conforming in terms of the side yard setback.
Correct.
And then just give me a second here too, because I'd like to hear, I know your input as well here, just to fill us in a bit
Well,
more.
if you look up on the screen, you'll see the dashed line that is on I'm going to say the bottom of this actual site plan of the property itself. And you can see that's the required side yard setback in the R3 district. And you'll see that the existing house already exceeds that dashed line. Let me try to get up here. So the required side yard setback in the R3 is 15 feet.
Yep.
The dashed line that goes along that property line shows that the existing home is already set back with, it's already encroaching within that setback. So it's an existing non-conforming feature. The addition that they'd like to place on the back will continue that non-conformity for an additional 12 feet now. So it's expanding the non-conformity within that existing non-conforming setback dimension. It's not exceeding it. As a result, they're tasked with coming and obtaining a special exception.
But is the addition off the back of the house or the right of the house when you're looking at the house?
The issue is not the rear yard setback. They've got plenty of distance along the rear yard. It's the fact that the side yard setback is already encroached and they're going to continue that line along that for an additional 12 feet.
I got it. So when I was first looking at this, based on the designs from Mr. Hand, I looked at it as if I'm looking at the house, driveway's on the right-hand side, the addition would be over that driveway, but it's not. It's up the back of the house, which is already non-conforming, just kind of following that straight path of the side of the house there.
Exactly.
Got it.
That's correct.
Exactly.
Thank you.
I actually wouldn't mind hearing from, surprised to see some neighbors here, I guess, for a case like this. I'd love to hear what's going on.
Well, technically, if they want to ask questions.
Oh, yeah, because he's actually, do you have any questions for? Do you mind, actually, I know this, pull that chair up there. If you don't mind sitting here while you ask your questions, just turn that microphone on, because we need to make sure we capture everything for the stream. Yep, just press the button.
Hit the button.
Yep, there you go. Didn't we do that already? Oh, I thought you did these guys.
Is the deck going to be rebuilt?
There's no plan to have the deck rebuilt
No plan.
at this time.
Just curious why all the material is still there. All the decking material that was tore down is still out in the yard. There's a email as part of the package from a zoning officer dated September 18th that's asking about that references a newly proposed wall. Like, where is that wall?
That wall is shown in the second drawing presented from, do we have that one also? From George Maloof, there it is. He is the, yeah, his name is George Maloof, Maalouf. He's a civil engineer from Westchester. I work with him quite frequently on surveys and properties where we have non-conforming or impervious concerns. And George documented the wall that's shown there towards the rear. It's parallel to the horizon right now for us. But it
Can somebody put a cursor on it so I can see it?
yes, that's right here.
That wall's already there.
Yes, he documented it as surveyors are to do, to document what they find. It was built relatively recently and.
Well, that's what I'm asking, but
yes.
that was there in May. This email is dated September 18th. It says, in addition, the site plan doesn't appear to show the newly proposed landscaping wall. Both pages show existing walls, but without reference to the new one. Is there, am I missing something, or were you mistaken about a newly proposed wall?
The plans that I have and what I reviewed are basically up on the screen. You can see my markings there, and I identify it as an existing wall. So because the plan identifies a new wall, I was questioning why the site plan didn't show a new wall.
So we're talking about the same wall?
It is the same wall.
So there is no newly proposed wall. We're talking about that existing wall.
Yes, this is going to be.
Clarifying that for me as well as you.
Okay.
Yes.
That was very important to me.
Uh,
Okay,
I know, but that's the charge of the civil engineers to show what is found on the property at the time. Regardless of somebody doing it a little too fast before a permit was approved. And then having it proposed and not having it built there. So
what's going to be the finish on the addition as far as the exterior?
Siding.
Right now, there's siding all the way up and down.
well, the foundation will remain probably just painted concrete. And-
It's cinder block.
Okay,
They're just going to paint the cinder block.
yes, probably we're just gonna paint, or if it needs to be stuccoed or anything like that, but traditional masonry finish.
I don't think I have any more questions.
Okay.
My biggest issue was the wall.
And I apologize, what's your concern with the wall, that there's one going
Well-
in, that what's there?
The email leads me to believe because there's an existing wall that's been there since May. The email led me to believe that there was another wall going to be built
In addition to the one that's
in
there?
addition to
Okay.
the one that's there, because there's an existing wall, two existing walls, and he refers to a newly proposed wall.
Okay,
By my math, that's three walls and I only see two. I'm wondering where the third is going to be.
And that was my question.
But that's,
so there is no third wall.
There's not going to be a third wall, correct?
But these walls that were put in May, right? Does the township do anything with making sure they're done right? Like put this permit with our zone, if we grant this or not grant this, like what? 'Cause I know something about this property because I live in the area and I walk, so. This was done before the permit, a lot of the stuff, so what's the deal with?
Well, I think I'm finding that out today as everyone else is.
what's the
That
length
there-
of, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's
No,
okay.
no.
So ultimately, that wall is going to have to be somehow looked at. Now, the only time we would look at in most cases, if the wall is not holding back more than 4 feet of unbalanced soil, it's simply a zoning permit. Unless it changes and redirects stormwater. So we are going to have to take a look at that, to make sure that that was not done. I don't know the height of the wall that was put in May, so I don't know what it's retaining at the moment. That's why I had the question since September 8th.
Right.
So, Mr. Hand, I'm just gonna simply ask you, do you know the height of unbalanced fill behind that wall?
Yes, it is less than 4 feet. I think it's 2.5 feet at most. I have it drawn on my drawings. Right here.
So if you are gonna jump into, just, we need to get you the microphone as well, so I'll make sure you're swearing, which you'll have it.
So ultimately, what we're going
Okay.
to try to do is evaluate it to make sure that it didn't divert or change the direction of stormwater onto another property.
Can I ask a question? Is that separate issue other than what's before us today, which is the exception for the side yard setback, right?
That would be a separate issue.
And as,
Construction issue.
and just a question for you too, so I mean, do you have any concerns aside from what you brought up, which is the wall that's there with the construction of the addition?
I don't think, well, I don't think you can look at just the addition, because this is such a big project. The addition is just part of this whole show.
No, and I get that, but I guess for us, for what we're here to approve or deny, right, is the variance approval to be able to stay in line with that existing setback, which I'm happy to hear all of the input here from everybody, but just curious with that piece of it. With the actual addition.
So
I want to make sure you're okay with, do you have any objections to the actual addition going on the back of this house
Yes,
with it going?
yes.
And where's your house located? Are you on
Right
the
next
side,
door.
the side that it encroaches into the side yard
Yes.
setback on?
Yes.
Okay.
The question I wanted to ask is, what is the length of that wall?
The length of the landscaping wall,
That wall, what's the length of that? Because I'm looking at it, I think it's got 45, 50 feet.
36.
It is
The
about,
house is 30 feet wide.
it's about 48 feet long.
And when I was looking at it, I think at the highest point, I think it was 6 courses of cinder block. 6 courses of block. And I think blocks 8 inches
So
high.
that would be 48 inches, 8-inch block.
Right.
And what determines whether or not a building permit is applicable versus a zoning permit would be how much soil it holds back. So
Okay.
there's an unbalanced soil dimension. So if the wall is 48 inches tall, but only is holding 30 inches of soil back, it's still a zoning permit. If it's 48 inches tall and it's holding back 48 inches of soil, it becomes a building permit. So we can evaluate that. I think for this evening's purposes, the wall is kind of out of bounds because understanding it's a concern of yours and it's now a concern of mine because it was installed without a permit. So we'll cover that at a later date. This evening is really about the extension of the addition into that non-conforming side yard.
Okay. Well, if I may then. Refer to my notes. In his petition, the applicant cites section 172-141F of the zoning code as the reason why the board should grant the request. But that section merely states that the expansion will be reviewed by the zoning board. Section 172-13 of the code imposes a burden of proof on the applicant to demonstrate that the project is not prejudicial to the character of the immediate vicinity and will not have a detrimental effect on neighboring properties. That is designed, constructed, operated, and maintained to be in harmony with, appropriate in appearance with the existing or intended character of the immediate vicinity. It provides that the board shall consider whether the application, if granted, will impair stormwater management or cause soil erosion, be consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood, be detrimental to other properties in the area, affect the character of the immediate neighborhood by failing to conserve the values of the existing buildings, and adversely affect off-street parking. Virtually everything this applicant has done since he moved in has had a detrimental effect on the neighborhood, neighboring properties. To think that this will be any different would just be foolish. So to your question, Mr. Chairman, it's impossible for me to look at this addition in a vacuum. It's part of this whole thing. And I have to assume that the addition, I understand the non-conforming aspect of it, believe me. But there is a burden of proof that what he does will not be detrimental. I have some photos, if I may.
Sure.
There's only, I think there's 9.
We'll share them.
Reference.
Mark them in evidence. I guess we have one that we can give.
Yeah,
We can mark them in their totality. How many are there?
9 photos are marked 1 through 9.
Okay, he has them marked. There's 1 through 9, so there'll be sorry, Mr. McGinn, McGinn 1 through 9.
All right.
The other thing that's in the application is request for relief for exceptions that haven't even been identified. I don't understand this. It sounds like he's asking to be exonerated for code violations that either haven't been discovered or that he hasn't gotten around to committing yet. The footings were all dug by hand in loose dirt that was trucked in. The concrete for the footings was mixed by hand in small batches in the trough. I can't imagine there aren't a host of violations already. To excuse them in advance is inconceivable to me. The first photo is of a wall that he built. When he widened his driveway, you can see here, this is a row of cinder blocks, bare cinder block with just cement splashed on them.
So just, and I'm sorry, just to get caught up to speed here too. I guess was this construction started without
This-
permit, I guess.
You can see,
So this
if you
began-
look at this photograph, Mr.
Yeah.
Chairman, you can see the additions there. He's asking you to allow him to do something he's already done.
Okay,
He got shut down in May because he didn't have the required permits. That's why we're here.
okay.
Now, Mr.
But
McGinn,
my-
Mr. McGinn said, I don't want to impede upon your presentation, but these are issues that have to do with potentially violations of building code, him operating without the permits. But tonight, in front of this zoning board, all we're dealing with is the issue of his request to expand the structure into the side yard on a non-conforming property. I'm not saying don't make your presentation, but the only jurisdiction that these gentlemen have this evening is on that particular issue.
I understand. Point I'm trying to make is that the code says that he has to demonstrate that what he's doing will not be detrimental to the values of the other property.
I understand
I'm
the
trying
burden,
to-
the burden is on
What
Mr.
I'm, what I'm trying to establish is that there's a longstanding pattern of him doing other things that have been detrimental to the neighborhood.
I'm
Have
not.
those been
I'm not-
documented?
Well,
By the
let's
township?
not, so I feel like this
I'm
is.
not-
Yeah, I don't want to devolve into that, so let's.
None of us do. What we're here for is obviously is because of the side yard setback variance. I get that there's obviously a lot of other issues taking place, and I think if this is to be approved or something that does move forward, they're obviously going to be following up with inspections and everything is going to take place after that. Obviously, looking at this and seeing that something started and no one's inspecting it, that there's problems. So that needs to be addressed, but it's just tough for us because this isn't the first time this board's been in front of situations like this where there's issues that go far beyond what we're actually here for. So just understanding what we have to look at without getting off topic, that's what Mr. Elsner is
The code
saying.
enforcement issues will be addressed because you've raised them.
No, but my point is, if, in order to, he has to demonstrate that this won't be detrimental. Everything he's done since he's been there has been detrimental. To think that this won't be detrimental would be like, I just hitting yourself in the head with a hammer 9 times. and
So
thinking-
expanding it,
You have the ability to present your case before the gentleman. They'll consider whatever you have and what's relevant to their decision-making will be considered.
That's what I'm trying to do.
I understand.
No, I know. He's just trying to keep you on topic because that's why we're here.
I understand what you're saying, but like I said, I'm looking at this as a longstanding pattern of doing this stuff. And at one point, he came to me at one point, he wanted to widen his driveway. He didn't say anything about putting curbs in the driveway. He dug up about a 70-foot long stretch of my lawn, poured a concrete curb, and just walked away and left a mess on my property. I had to fill all that stuff in. So this stuff has been going on for years. There's a pile, if you look at some of those other photos, there's piles of trash and debris that have been out in the backyard for years. The reason I asked about the deck, they tore the deck down, all the materials out in the backyard gathering weeds. That's detrimental to the neighborhood. There's no reason to think that this addition won't be detrimental to the neighborhood too.
What we'd like to do is hear from the other neighbors also, and then hear from the owner, and then as a board moving forward, what conditions we put on the property. Now, if the township's involved, other things are gonna happen now because
Well, I'd like to add, I think it's really important that when you apply for a permit, that requires several inspections to be made by township officials, myself and other inspectors. And that's to assure there's no detrimental outcome to this, because we will not issue, we won't let him go beyond, the photos are very helpful because I knew we had gotten a report that there was work taking place. We validated that, didn't have a permit. We went out and we shut it down. So that's why we're here to see, right? Because work is shut down. The problem that's really going to be borne by the applicant is how does he rectify the inspections of that work that had taken place prior to? That's something we will handle internally during the inspection process to avoid a detrimental outcome. So I can understand your concern, but the whole point of getting a permit is so there aren't those factors at the end.
And to your point, that, as you correctly stated, they have the proof of meeting the requirements for a special exception. And if they don't do it, they don't get, in our opinion, if they don't do it, they don't get the request. But, so if you, specific to the project that they're talking about, have concerns about its impact, this is the opportunity to provide those to us. I understand your point about the way things have gone previously. That's going to be handled through the township. We're handling the issue of solely extending the non-conformity. That's it.
But based on what, just to ask?
Based on what he says, what you say, what anybody comes here and says, and what the ordinance says.
Well, the ordinance says that he has to demonstrate that it will.
Correct,
be-
correct.
Okay,
And he
well,
has to.
I don't see that. I don't. see
Well,
that.
that's for us to
So
decide
what-
as well.
But what, okay, but what's been presented to support not detrimental to other properties?
We're not going to answer your questions on that.
Okay,
It's their burden of proof, not ours to present these. They got to prove it. If we find out they didn't do it, here we didn't do it, then we rule accordingly. But we welcome the input. I don't mean, I'm not trying to cut you off. but
yeah, okay. No, I understand. I'm trying to establish a pattern. Everything that's done is worse than what was done before. Everything.
And we heard you on that.
And that's why I was terrified of this wall.
Were these things
Because I
done with
was-
permits? Do you
I'm
know?
sorry?
Were they done with permits, the projects you're referring to that were done?
You'd
That
have
were-
to, you'd have to ask him. If he didn't do this with permit,
Right.
you try to get. this
I know,
with
and
permit.
I guess
And I
that's,
don't know what he did that would have required. permit.
and that's the point I think we're trying to make too, though, is now that the work has been stopped and the township will be involved doing multiple inspections from the foundation through the electrical installation, everything that's going to have to take place to make sure it is properly done.
I mean, I know we widened the driveway, you can see that.
I know, and it's tough for us to be
Does that-
here, though.
I don't know if that requires.
No, and I'm sure there's probably multiple things that do, and I don't know what's happened there. But again, to get back for us on topic to look at what we're here for, which is the variance for the side yard setback to stay in line, is what we do have to address. I know you're bringing up past issues, and I get that, and we will take it all into consideration. Nothing's gonna be made like a rash decision here or anything like that, so.
I'm
do
just,
value the
like I
input.
said, I'll say one more time, then I guess I'm done. When I read 172-13, and there's over and over, they talk about the surrounding neighborhood being detrimental to other properties, failing to conserve the value. I can't see how this passes any of those tests based on what's there now.
Okay.
Based on what he's done for the last 15 years or so. Like I said, everything's worse.
Okay.
That wall.
Well, I'd like to speak about the wall, one other comment about that, because as you can see, the plan calls it out as existing. And that's why I had the question. But we're learning this evening that the wall was recently installed, picked up by the current survey. But that does encroach into very steep slopes. It appears to encroach into very steep slopes, which there's a prohibition of affecting very steep slopes. So outside of this body, that will need to be addressed. Right now, I don't see even a purpose for it, other than altering the direction of what surface water. So that is going to have to be addressed, and I will tell you that that wall will probably have to be removed. I will tell you that this evening. That will probably have to be removed. Because it's encroaching, it was done illegally without a permit. And it's encroaching very steep slopes without approval. And it's going to do nothing but alter or redirect storm. So those three things will probably require to remove.
But that is not part of your decision.
I know, that's,
And just to
Fine.
go a little bit further with regard to
Want to keep your
inspection. Just to go a little bit further with regard to inspection, to calm any fears about that. If they gain the special exception approval and the addition continues, there will have to be some concrete testing done on the footings, an evaluation of that. And that'll all happen through the inspection process. So if it was mixed on hand, I certainly hope it was mixed correctly. Because if it's not, that will also have to be removed and redone.
We have other neighbors that want to.
yeah, Mr. McGinn, thank you.
Thank you.
And you'll have the ability to step back up if
Okay. Well, thanks for your time.
you'll be able to, if there's any other witnesses and you have questions for them, you're welcome to it as well. So I don't want you to think we're just pushing you aside. Did we, you're sworn in already, right? And what's your name again?
My name is Ken Dart.
Ken Dart?
Dart, the one you throw.
Okay.
I live on, 43, just on the other side.
So if I'm looking at the house, you're to the left.
Yes, the other side of the trees that you see on the next to the house there.
All right.
So I'm the one that's affected by water. He's affected more by view, things encroaching on his property. I'm affected by the water. If you look at the drawing you have over here, don't mind me standing over here.
Please.
The driveway, which is original to the property and was put in when the house was built. 10 feet off, well, it's supposed to be, the property line's 10 feet. And it's, 10 feet from the house, so the house not conforming is not 15 feet. Just so you, this is 5 feet over property line. Now, his driveway now is back here, about 9 feet over the property line. Okay, and up here, it's about 3 feet over the property. Now, this driveway used to come straight up in one line, 10 feet wide, all the way down to about here. Okay, so this driveway now is coming in front of the house another 12 feet. And all this water is collected here. This is curved and it's coming around now. Around down this driveway, because this is very hilly. Now, it used to be able to kind of flow through here and go across the yards as it went downhill. Now, all this, it used to be able to turn right here at the corner of the house. Now, it has to come all the way down the back. And we got a creek now in the rain behind there, which is eroding my yard. Now, there's also trees in here which don't get the water that they used to get because of this wall and this addition. This is where the problem starts, right there at the corner house where it used to be. More water is collected and put back here because of what was done here without permit years ago. This is also another wall that's more than 4 feet high. The question is like, how far is this stuff going to go? And does it affect everything? Yes, this does affect the water flow. How much? Just this 12 feet out. Is that all it is? I think it's more, but that's only 12 feet long. It's still affecting the way the water flows. So in the end, it's non-conforming. Should it get special exception? I mean, if you went to the township and you were trying to get special exception, if I was an architect doing this before this building would start it would start 5 feet over, 15 feet within, the required setback.
I do this.
You're gonna need a special exception either
It's a
way.
special exception, but it's many other municipalities don't require the special exception. They take it as a fact that it's already over, so you're not making it worse.
And we do see
Well,
these,
what
we
is
do
not-
see
what's
this where
not-
it stays in line. I get that.
So what I'm saying is because of what's done up here, extending this farther back is affecting the water flow back there. How everything's supposed to flow through. Because this is hilly. Now, I really want to know what the purpose of that wall is, because I think it's to build a parking lot back here so he can park cars back here. He's trying to level off the backyard. That's what I think, it's ugly. This used to be a park-like setting back here. My kids would be able to sled through the backyards. Now, I know if somebody wants to put up a fence, you gotta deal with that, but this, everything, I mean, it looks like, I don't know, like a tornado went through, and parts of houses are ripped apart from all over the yard. There's trash in the woods. It's a mess, and it's affecting my property value, and it's affecting Joe's property value, and whoever else wants to walk down the street, and say, what the hell is going on?
So to Mr. Dart's comment, excuse me, Mr. Dart's comment for Andy, the water management for this plan,
Can you come back to the microphone?
what he's saying with that addition now and the wall, and they're saying they have a water management plan for this. Would we? I mean,
the addition falls under the threshold.
Correct.
For stormwater management.
Right.
Now,
How about all the extra?
well,
Excuse me.
hold on, I don't know when that driveway was expanded, because obviously it was done without a permit. So our stormwater ordinance is cumulative. So if the addition currently, and I'm just gonna use round numbers, if the addition today is 100 or 400 square feet, they fall under that minimum threshold by 100 square feet, because the threshold is 500. But had they had a permit for the driveway expansion, that would have added to the 400 square feet, which would have then initiated the need for stormwater management. So I don't know if any of these gentlemen can tell us in an approximate way when they believe the driveway was expanded.
I can tell you, the driveway was expanded probably 10 years ago. There's been another expansion of the front patio, which is only a few years old. So there's been expansion of concrete all over the house and around the house since they've moved in. And if it all looked good and it didn't really affect the neighbors and the value and the view of the place, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It's just that everything just looks so bad, and it doesn't seem like they care about the neighbors at all. It's just, and I'm in construction. I have a construction company. I'm telling you, the work is not, it would never be approved, or, an inspector, just right from the layout, from the permits. I doubt there was even I doubt there was even plans before they started.
But now that you heard the township's involved and you've heard Andy say
Yeah.
the wall may have to come down.
All that's gonna,
Stuff's have to come, so we're still here just for the addition, and then everything
Yeah, I
else is
know.
gonna trigger this with the
Yeah.
township involved now, so.
but it's like Joe said, this has been a cumulative thing, and
Without
what
township
they've done in
involved.
the past is now affecting what the
Yeah.
addition is doing to me.
That is
I think it's
absolutely
good.
noted.
You guys are
Yeah.
giving us context on your experience, right? So, it sounds like it hasn't been a good experience for the neighbors, so totally understand that. We're gonna have to factor all that into the decision on, what's before us today, which is the request for a special exception. With an existing non-conforming, which honestly, we deal with that all the time. I mean, it's the township, all these houses, I mean, I live in one, like it's already non-conforming, right? And so, there's residents and people now that are faced with, can I add on to my house? Or do I have to sell this house and go try to move into something that's, $700,000-800,000 more?
Mhm.
The easiest path is the addition, so we have to look at these all the time and say, does it make sense, right? And going back to, I believe it was Mr. McGinn's, like, will it alter the neighborhood? Will it take away from the character of the neighborhood? And I imagine there's a bunch of people over there with additions, right, off the back, off maybe the side of the house. I don't think it's uncharacteristic to have additions.
I don't either.
So but with the township involved and with the proper permitting and inspection process, you would think that it would be a better outcome, but your
Oh,
experience
sure.
has been otherwise, I get it.
And we have the ability to approve with exceptions that can be put in there, stipulations, which we'll get to if this is something that we move forward with, and we'll have those conversations with our solicitor. But again, we're not there yet. And I know Mr. Latollari, am I saying that correctly? he wants to say a few things as well. So I want to give him his opportunity. So if you don't mind, actually, just let him step up to the podium there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I swear I'm gonna tell the truth. So which one of you is Flamur?
That's him. My name is Flavio. I'm the son. So I have a few questions. Flavio. Flavio. Flavjo. FLA as in Victor, JO.
The hearing is not on today, so you gotta speak.
Pretty sure he said the creek is detrimental to his property. But that creek is on either one of our properties. That is the township. Doesn't intersect ours. It's not part of our property whatsoever. So far back from this, it's.
Want to clear it up?
Well,
Just
let's,
saying that now it's a creek in the heavy rain, now there's a creek because the water is all directed to.
I apologize, I'll let you speak.
yeah, and it's, guys, again, just speaking into the microphone as well. So you're standing there now.
That creek has been there way before we
I-
moved in.
okay.
I'm just pointing that out as
Yep.
well. Also the detrimental to the look of the property. I don't want to point fingers. I'm sure you got permits when your son did the addition inside the house. That wasn't an issue, you guys. 44 across. No, I'm sure he did. I'm just taking an example, yeah. 44 has the entire house remodeled, completely done, separate and different from what the other houses look like in the neighborhood. That
So
wasn't
can
an
we,
issue
I'm
with that.
gonna try to slow this.
I just don't
Seriously,
like
now
how
it's becoming a
everything we're
finger-pointing
trying to do is
match.
an issue. I understand the permits were not there and that's what we're trying to do, go through the correct corridors, but their personal vendetta or vendetta towards.
Can I
us.
ask a question? Can somebody suggest to me the nature of the neighborhood? Are there similarly situated homes
Yes,
that have been expanded in a
Yes.
similar manner within the immediate area?
correct, yes. The next door neighbor, actually, he has the green shirt.
Which-
Gentleman in the green shirt, he has the same type of extension, more or less.
I have nothing that comes outside the footprint.
You have an extension on your home, correct? Was it an issue when you did it? Did anyone complain about the noise about it being different or anything?
Guys, this is what I said, this is what I said at the beginning when I said we were gonna have part contestants and not let it get to this.
Only one person can talk at a time. We have a quorum.
So I think that's my turn. I cannot talk too much. I just want to show some video from flooding because flooding, yeah, I want to connect some video to see.
I don't know how we
Because they-
really, yeah, video from your phone, is
Yeah,
that? That would have to be, I don't even know how we would handle that to get it submitted.
I don't know how to connect that.
because I want to make sure whose house is destroying from the raining thunderstorm.
So-
His house, their house, or my house.
That's not why we're
From
here.
our
What's
perspective,
wrong in your house?
that's something the township has to do. We're only concentrating on the addition. Now,
Mr. Hand, can you lend some, you familiar with the neighborhood?
Yeah,
Have you, when you started these plans, did you have an opportunity to look about the neighborhood with regard to structures of other similarly situated homes?
yeah, they're all similar, 70-ish year old house, post-war houses. I don't know the exact date of this development, but they're all similarly been added upon over the years in the entire neighborhood up and down street. It's a dead end street. There are similarly positioned houses with not the best topography with regard to water for all of the properties. There's definitely going to be issues as we've overdeveloped without thinking about stormwater management until 15 years ago. That is impacting people as we see on the news again and again around Philadelphia. It is.
Is it your testimony that you've seen some homes in the immediate neighborhood of this particular home that have been extended on
Yes.
non-conforming lots?
Yes, I don't know about exact neighbors, the direct neighbors, but other neighbors on this street have definitely done work. And it's all in this, similar
And
style.
in your opinion, has it affected the neighborhood by virtue of those expansions?
No, No, I mean, more space is more tax revenue, is more ability to, have either more people live there and increase population and taxes. It's what we look for many times. I'm not saying use directly.
All right,
sir.
let's
Yes.
address the panel.
Yes, sir.
We're dealing with evidence. We're not arguing between each other. So, is there anything else you want to add to the presentation or have your clients testify to?
No, we're looking to remedy this and rectify it, knowing that it was started without a permit. And attempting to, help some people that maybe they don't know the path, they don't know how to do these things. They're coming from another background, and knowing the ways is it takes some learning. There's a learning curve. So trying to.
If the board would
Gender
consider, would your client be agreeable to continue this matter to allow the code officer to come out and take a look at the situation and talk to the neighbors on site?
Like wait another month for a decision?
That would be, well, they have the right to make a decision next
It
month,
would be in your
but
best
to
interest.
continue the case.
Okay.
But I'm not suggesting you do that. It's entirely up to you. But from what I've heard, I'm just putting it out there.
Let me ask.
And just for you guys, so you know what we've had situations like this. What we would rather see happen is come to some agreement, even if you guys are back here next month, that we can figure out what you would like to see happen with this project that you have concerns over. If it's a stormwater management, then we have that discussion to make sure that that's addressed, but hoping as neighbors, you can kind of come together and sort this out so that we can get this handled correctly and everybody's happy in the end. We don't want to make a rash decision tonight. That's why also with the township coming out to perform some additional inspections, address the wall, look at stormwater management, all of that, but I'm sorry.
We welcome the opportunity.
Welcome the opportunity to maybe the zoning officer.
So,
For
yeah,
the record, I can't think of anybody in the neighborhood who's expanded. Several have gone up. The only one who I'm aware of, I moved in 1989. 2 doors up from me had an addition that went straight back towards the woods. Not out. I don't know anybody. I've been there since 80. I've been there almost 35 years. I'm not aware of anybody that went out. 10 went up. Across the street from me went. Other houses that have gone up. I'm not aware of anybody.
I did not hear his testimony.
No, that's okay. He was just talking about not being aware of houses that have gone out. So how did your conversation go?
We will extend this
well,
conversation.
you have to request of the board
Sorry.
to have the matter continued.
Yeah.
And I assume that these gentlemen are not going to have any opposition to extending it to next month to see what's going on over at the property.
On behalf of my
Any,
client, I'd
any,
like to-
any objection?
on behalf of my client, Mr. Latollari and his family, I'd like to request an extension for the board to meet with the township officials, have a site visit, and start to wrap your heads around what's going on this property to make sure that you can see what's going on. I mean, there have been plenty of pictures that were shown by us and by the neighbors so that you can understand a bit of the geography and what's going on. But if you need to make a site visit, then that can help, and I'm sure
So
that
we would be
officials-
back here on November 16th, same time.
I will not be, unfortunately. I have tickets to see Depeche Mode in Denver.
Nice.
So.
All right.
And we also request just someone on their team schedule that meeting.
Yes,
Just somebody.
on
please
with the neighbors or
schedule
with,
that. Well, schedule that through the township. Once they agree on a date and time.
so
provide
you
that
guys
to
all
us.
understand that you're gonna have to coordinate a time that works for this site visit to make sure everybody is involved with the township. What's that? You'd be working that out with the township for that time.
You
So
call for an appointment.
We'll chat with them.
you guys,
It might
everybody
be
here needs to
helpful
agree on a
for
time for this site
client to
visit so
have
that the
someone
issues
here
can
that
be addressed, that would be
communicate.
brought back up for how we can handle this at the next month's meeting.
Attorney would be a good idea.
So I'm sure even if one of, you two have been involved here tonight, can make sure that you're around for that meeting. You guys okay with that then? If we approve this continuance?
Yeah, you're gonna grant him the requested continuance to the 16th of November.
Okay.
We don't have to, in that case, we don't have to re-advertise.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna make a motion
Is
for.
there anybody else here that has anything that they want to say before we adjourn? No? Good.
I'll make a motion to. I'll make a motion to grant the continuance, the requested continuance. For application Z 2023-20. To, was it the 16th? I'm
Yes,
sorry,
November.
November 16th. I guess I'll also add as part of that, that it would be, probably helpful if when you have this meeting, on-site meeting, that, you kind of look past what's happened in the past and just stick to like, how do we, make this project successful, for everybody?
All right,
Second.
all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, see everyone on the 16th. Good luck.